And now for the tale of the tape in this Warhammer showdown between the Skaven, who shall be led by Lord Skrull, and the dinosaurs, who are actually going to be led by a blueberry slan, which I haven't seen in quite some time. But the blueberry slan, for anyone who doesn't know, is actually a heavens caster. And I think one of the reasons you probably don't see it terribly often is because Mazdamundi does, of course, have access to a couple very good heaven spells himself, and has Ruination of Cities, a really good mount option, etc., etc. But anyways, this blueberry slan is going to be bringing the Wind Blast to the battlefield, because that's one spell from heavens that Mazdamundi does not have. And on top of that, it looks like he does have Chain Lightning and Curse of the Midnight Wind. So as far as my army goes, of course, we have some large threats to deal with, as is the case when you're usually fighting against the dinosaurs. Over here we have a Stegodon, we have Kroxigors, and it looks like we also have, well, the Slan himself is large, but you don't really have to worry about his thickness barging into your lines. But yeah, Stegodons, Bastillodons, Kroxigors, sometimes you're going to be seeing Carnosaurs, all sorts of big scary dinosaurs. As such, the Skaven do have a couple decent options for dealing with large threats. I think the most user-friendly of all the options is going to be the Helped Abomination #1. Anti-large, armor piercing, has really good durability with its regeneration, and if you just keep it in kind of a bit of a Skaven blob, it's going to be relatively safe. You don't have to worry too much about it being compromised, in my opinion. The other options, of course, are Warp Lightning Cannons, which are pretty good, but also Warp Lightning Cannons are map dependent. So if you're on a map like this with a little bit of a kind of a tree line here, your opponent could simply deploy over here, run up through here, and you probably wouldn't get too many good Warp Lightning shots right, until they come out of the tree line, which isn't going to be terribly effective. So the other option, in my opinion, is using the Poison Wind Globetrotters. So in total, we have 3 of these bad boys. Anti-large, armor piercing, the magic damage, I don't think it ends up being pertinent too much in this matchup. I think a couple of the dinosaur things have physical resist. I don't know. It looks like they just have missile resist on most of them, but I think Shield of the old ones also gives you kind of a all-encompassing ward save. So it's not going to be a physical resist, but we'll double check in this battle because I'm pretty sure my opponent does cast it. But anyways, the Poison Wind Globetrotter is going to be my anti-large tool here against the dinosaurs. And on top of that, we also have some anti-mass. So if you don't have Rat Ogres or anything with mass, the dinosaurs can kind of just run through your army. And even if you have halberds and spears, they can just cycle charge. And it tends to be a little bit of a disastrous situation. As such, we have 2 Rat Ogres. Front line is going to be a combination of Skaven Slaves, Clan Rats, 1 group of Storm Vermin with the swords and shields in the front line, which are very good against the low armor piercing of the dinosaur front line. And also we're going to be trying out Sensor Bears. So we have 2 of these bad boys, and I wanted to kind of experiment with them against feral dinosaurs because they do have, really good armor piercing damage. It's pretty fat at 46 weapon strength with 31 AP. And on top of that, they have the Contaminate ability, which lowers leadership by 10. So if you're facing off against feral dinosaurs, Bastillodons, or anything really, it's going to be quite useful in breaking them quicker. So we're going to see how they do in this matchup. On top of that, we got, I think we have a couple slingers as well. So we do have these Skaven Slave Slingers, which are pretty good against the dinosaurs. And if you don't bring something to deal with Skink Chiefs and Pterodon Riders, they can just sit above your army, they can drop rocks, or simply just snipe your lord, which definitely is not fun. As such, investing 400 gold in Skaven Slave Slingers, 200 and 200, I think is 100% worth it. So for my opponent's force, it looks like he does have the Stegodon right here with the Ballista, so it's just going to be the standard one. And this one is basically 100% designed to just snipe Warp Lightning Cannons. It has like pinpoint accuracy with its sniping ability here, and simply put, I mean, if you have this thing fighting against Warp Lightning Cannons, it will take some damage, but it's going to be able to kill the artillery pieces themselves extremely quickly. So I like this pick a lot for my opponent. Not going to be as useful here, but nonetheless, it's still a big terror-causing beast with a bonus for infantry. And on top of that, he's got a front line of Saurus mixed in with a couple Skink cohorts with Javelins. 2 Kroxigors, they got their Spanking Paddles, and they're going to be very good against my Plague Monk Sensor Bears, as well as the Storm Vermin. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit scary. And there's Aquatics. We're fighting in a bit of a watery map, so it could come into play here with the Skinks. And yeah, definitely not looking forward to my rats drowning in the water. Feral Bastillodon, and in the back we do have the Blueberry Slan, of course. My opponent, last but not least, does have a couple groups of the Pterodon Riders, I think, 2 Coldon Riders, and yeah, you don't really, I mean, the anti-large ones are pretty good here, I guess, because they can deal with Rat Ogres, but even still, these guys are going to be pretty good at just running through my infantry and causing problems. And he does have 2 Pterodon Riders on the far side. So these guys aren't bad because they can sit on top of Warp Lightning Cannons, they can drop the rocks, and yeah, they just kind of harass, and I actually do like them in this matchup, so he has 2 of those guys. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road and have some fun. So my Skaven hordes are going to be advancing right now. And I also do have, I think, 2 assassins in total, and the double assassin is really good. If you're facing off against like a Krokgar or any sort of big powerful lord or heroes or things like that, the trophy heads is very good. Plus they just hit hard. I mean, it just gives you a little bit more presence in the front line. So it looks like my opponent's going to be waiting in the river, which is definitely smart. He's going to be able to kind of force us to fight here. Granted, I do have the Globetrotters and the Slinger, so we will be scooting up in just a moment. I'm going to be initially sending 1 group of Slingers up to throw at the Saurus Warriors, but I did see the Pterodon Riders coming in at this very moment. So I was like, all right, let's just kind of sit back and get these Slingers throwing at the Pterodon Riders. Maybe we can pepper those guys down and have a little bit of fun. So we're going to be advancing. My opponent is going to be getting that sweet, juicy Aquatics fight he wants. Skaven Slave's going to be coming in for the Horn Rat and going to be getting beaten down pretty badly by pretty much everything they fight, but that's their job. That's their duty. In the meantime, my opponent is going to be coming around the back with the Coldon Riders. Looks like he's going to be keeping them in a very patient reserve, just waiting for me to engage in the main fight, maybe opening up the back line for him to get onto the Poison Moon Globeters. So the mainline fight is underway. Skrulk Daddy's going to be charging in, and it looks like the Skaven Slave's going to be taking the brunt of the Saurus charge here initially. Yeah, Skrulk's going to be pretty good here. He's going to lend some much-needed damage to the front line, and the Sensor Bears are also going to be colliding. So Sensor Bears should be pretty good against Saurus, but the problem being is that Saurus Warriors will also give it back to the Sensor Bears very hard with their massive weapon strength, but I'd be quite curious to actually test that out like 1-to-1 and see how that goes. Maybe we'll do that after this game. Anyways, the Pterodon Riders are also going to be throwing in their bolas here in the front line against the Sensor Bears, and yeah, we got a fight on our hands. It's on like Donkey Kong. Over here on the far side, and there's Shield of the old ones, and it looks like it does do just general ward save, so yeah, it's not going to really matter much that I do magic damage. On top of that, the Blueberry Slan looks like he's going to be dropping a fat banishment. I was wondering this game, I think I remember the Plague Monk Sensor Bears taking a ton of damage, and Storm Vermin too, or that's actually Chain Lightning. That actually does some pretty good damage. It really tears up my Storm Vermin, takes him down to about half health, and does some really good damage to the Sensor Bears, so beautiful play from my opponent. In the meantime, Slingers are just kind of poking at the Pterodon Riders and doing some really good work. And the Globeters are firing on pretty much all fronts, throwing in against Croxagors and some of the other big threats, but my front line is faltering, and at this point I have to pull in the Rat Ogres and pull in the Clan Rats to kind of buffer up this problem here. And I'm going to be sending in some of these Summoned Plague Monks to help out as well. So the Globeters on pretty much every front are being attacked, because the front line there, I was really expecting the Storm Vermin and my other elite troops to hold quite a bit longer, but the Chain Lightning from the Blueberry Slan just did a ton of damage, and from here the Globeters are actually fighting in melee, which is not good. On top of that, the Blood Statuette of Spite has gone down from the Slan, which is going to add a little bit more damage to the pot. So up here in the skies, the Pterodon Riders are just taking some good fire, though. It looks like they're dropping their rocks here on top of the Clan Rats, which I have no problem with. And the 200 gold of the Skaven Slave with Slingers is really, really paying its dues, like heavily. Over here in this fight, Skrulk Daddy is going to be fighting against Croxagors with the help of Rat Ogres and a couple of groups of the summoned Clan Rats, but nonetheless, Skrulk and the Rat Ogres are doing pretty good. You can see a couple of the Croxagors have fallen here. Rat Ogres have that really, really good armor piercing, so they're a pretty good natural counter against the Croxagors. But a Feral Bastiladon's going to be charging over there. And the Skaven lines, for the most part, but it's pretty much expected, are going to be taking some heavy damage and buckling a little bit lax with these two assassins, so I definitely screwed up the micro there. But from here, they're going to be kind of pouring over in this direction to intercept the Stegodon, and the rallying Storm Vermin are going to be helping, but man, my opponent coming in with that very delayed charge with the Coldrun Riders, he's going to be charging in, and the Coldrun Riders, these ones are just kind of a natural AP unit, so they're going to be very good against Storm Vermin and troops like that. But basically what I'm doing, I've lost this flank over here. It's looking pretty grim. A nice little banishment going down as well, which is going to chew up even more rats. And these poor Storm Vermin, this entire game, they've just been getting mulched by like Chain Lightnings and just all kinds of nasty magic from the Slan. But anyways, the two assassins have done some pretty good work. They did some damage against the Stegodon and were able to force it back. A summoned group of Plague Monks is going to be helping Skrulk out because he is straight up in Jurassic Park right now. Skrulk is being beaten down by Croxagors, by a Stegodon. I mean, there's just all sorts of dinosaur play over here. So we're going to be sending in the Plague Monks and the double assassin, and honestly, they should be able to kind of peel here. The Plague Monks are going to be able to chew through these troops just with the sheer numbers, and the Rat Ogres and the Globeters are back online as well, so we formed a bit of a secondary pocket, and you can see the Plague Monk Sensor Bears here racking up a ton of kills. They're contaminating the Saurus as well as the cold ones, and we actually break them, which is really good. So now we have this relatively powerful force. I mean, we have some spears, we have some Globeters who can kind of make their way over here to this part of the battlefield. Now, the bounce fire is pretty even. I wouldn't say either of us have a clear advantage. Granted, the dinosaurs did have one early, but we've been able to claw our way back. A lot of these dinos have been rampaging, the Feral Bastiladons, and the Summoned Plague Monks are just doing a really, really good job fighting. I mean, only 9 kills, but still, they've been able to kind of peel off these Saurus Warriors and buy some time for Skrulk, as well as his assassin buddies, to do some pretty good job. Yeah, look at this. This is solid. So we're able to beat back the Croxagors, the big dinosaurs, the Stegodon. They all have to fall back, so quite happy about that little situation there. In the meantime, my opponent's going to be coming in for a charge with the Coldrun Riders. Definitely going to be hurting, but I did see it coming, so I summoned some rats from below. These Clan Rats hopefully will be able to intercept the charge here. Not 100% sure, but we're going to find out here in just a moment. So the cold ones getting in there, getting a nice little charge there, and you can see the Clan Rats getting forced back. And we do have the two assassins going after the Slan. One of them does get punted back, unfortunately, by the Coldrun Riders here, who have pretty good mass, but the other assassin gets some really good damage. So finally we start to equalize the game a little bit. We're able to get on that Blueberry Slan and kind of poke him down. And as is the case with the Skaven, typically there's going to be troops coming back. So we got Slingers, we got Globeters over here and here who just rallied. And hopefully I will be bringing them back in just a moment, but a little bit lazy there with the micro. I mean, I just totally slipped up. But yeah, you can see I do bring them back here in just a moment. So those guys are going to be coming in, giving me some good answers against large targets, and it looks like the bounce fire does go slightly in my favor for the first time here in the game. Rat Ogres are able to catch some of these Pterodon Riders as they do swoop down and try and intercept me. And yeah, the Skaven Tide's coming back. We got 110 Clan Rats here, and they broke earlier. They do break very easily, but when they come back, they come back in numbers and with all the fury. In the meantime, my opponent does have some Pterodon Riders over here who are dropping some sweet bombs on the Globeters, but Globeters do have 100 armor, and Pterodon Riders have pretty horrible armor piercing, so we should be able to kind of sustain that a little bit. But in the main fight, it's going pretty good. Rat Ogres are fighting side by side with Lord Skrulk, and Lord Skrulk is really beat up, and if he dies or goes down, it's going to be a pretty bad situation. Wind Blast coming down, but pretty much only catches a group of breaking Skaven slave. That's kind of a tongue twister, isn't it? Skaven slave spears. Say that like 10 times fast. I feel like it's going to be a little bit tough. Anyways, the assassin here does get a little bit separated from the rat pack, and he's going to be taking some spankings from the Croxagore. And this Stegodon right here, though it did take some damage, is able to break off my other assassin, and also the Censor Bears who were there pretty much just got deleted. But I have some Globeteers coming back, Globeteers thrown in, and actually able to rampage, I think, some of the dinos over here. And this Slann is just so buttered and so close. I was trying to get up here with the Globeteers, but my opponent keeping it just out of my range, just teasing me to come in here. But the Globeteer fire getting in there and doing some huge damage against the Stegodon. So quite happy about that. We have one right here and one on the other side as well, but it looks like my opponent could be using the Chain Lightning and just charging in just a straight up bull charge. Oh man, that is not good for the rats. So they get caught up in a charge of a Stegodon who did have the Cold Blood, which without this Cold Blood, beautiful play from my opponent, it would have been broken. It has 13 leadership right now, and it gets plus 16 from the Cold Blooded. Therefore, it was stabilized with that Cold Blood effect. Very, very well played. That was a solid play. And he's able to get in there and just Shrek my Poison Wind Globeteers. And I do use to stand your ground to kind of keep him fighting, but it looks like they're going to be breaking anyways. But another group of Globeteers coming back, 15 of the 36 models, not terrible in terms of firing capacity, despite their low HP. He's able to come in there and do another 500-600 damage against this guy. And I also have some Rat Ogres coming in. So if the Rat Ogres can maybe come in and break this Stegodon with their armor piercing, that would be so useful, just kind of chasing it off the battlefield, because the dinosaurs have actually pulled ahead in the Bounce of Power, and that was largely done because he was able to kill my assassin. So this one assassin just got beaten down by Croxagores and a couple other troops. And from there, a very veteran play from my opponent. He's going to be chasing it down with these Pterodon Riders, which normally this assassin could turn around and just kill them easily. But he's broken. Oh, and it looks like he's going to be wavering, which is so fortunate for me, but he might be able to charge in and just break it just with the sheer volume of attacks. But we're going to see if the assassin can end up winning that fight. The other assassin I think was broken as well, and he ended up chasing it off with some Croxagores, and yeah, those Croxagores with their spanking paddles will do some pretty quick work against those that assassin, not those assassins. It'd be cool if you could have like a mob of them, but I guess that's what Death Runners are. Anyways, another summon coming down right here, so I do summon some rats with Lord Skrulk, and they're going to be intercepting this cav charge. So my opponent did come in with some of these cold ones right here. Oh man, that guy just got pimp slapped by that rat ogre. That was pretty serious stuff. But anyways, clan rats charging in, and yeah, I mean Skrulk, I think the most efficient way to use Skrulk in general is just, ooh, look at that wind blast. Very beautiful stuff coming in from the Blueberry Slann. It hit my slingers as well as my summon clan rats, but basically Skrulk as a summoner character I think is one of the more optimal ways to play, because Skaven typically have infantry problems. They're going to be breaking and running and having all sorts of problems. So being able to summon the clan rats is very effective. Elbastilodon right here is at negative leadership, give or take, negative 16. He's taking a beating from Rat Ogre. Skrulk has contaminated him. Therefore, he's going to be taking that natural minus 10 to his leadership, and he's going to be taking Globeteer Fire. But still, the bounce power is pretty damn even, if anything, a little bit in favor of the dinosaurs. I have Rat Ogres, I have Skrulk, I have some Globeteers here, so I have all three of my Globeteers back, some Skaven slaves with spears, and we have Saurus warriors for my opponent, Blueberry Slann, but I think, man, this full health group of 66 Saurus is going to be just incredibly tough to kill. He's got Skinks coming back, he's got Pterodon Riders, so there's actually a lot of firepower coming back from my opponent here, but we are able to share, I was about to say shatter, but I don't know why that came out there. But anyways, we're able to shatter that Feral Bastillodon. He's broken off. And from here, we're going to be charging in for the last stand here. So Skrulk charges in. He uses that Rod of Corruption. Shield of the Old Ones going down to kind of counteract the damage a little bit. But we're getting a lot of burst here. Rat Ogres coming in. We got Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats just fighting just tooth and nail in here. Or Rat Claw and Rat Nails. Whatever analogy you guys want to use. And you can see the Pterodon Riders are going to be swooping into the back line. But I do see this coming, so I pull back Skrulk. I pull back my Rat Ogres, and we're going to be turning around and then re-engaging. So the Rat Ogres don't take as much of the brunt of the rear charge there. We also do have a timing of stand your ground to make sure that my units don't just instantly break. And some of the Clan Rats are going to be kind of reforming ranks here, but the dinosaurs are holding pretty firm. They got 5 Croxagores. The Globeteers are doing a little bit of damage, working those guys down, but those Saurus are just the backbone. They're just grinding through the front line. Rat Ogres finally do break, which is a little bit unfortunate, and the Blueberry Slann is even getting in there and getting down and dirty, so such a damn close fight. We're going to be falling back here. Globeteers have to pull back as well. Skrulk Daddy's on a little bit of trouble as well. He's wavering, which is so bad. If he breaks, it's 100% a loss. And you can see here some of these Skinks are going to be re-engaging. They're very fast and could definitely cause some disruption in my lines. I have Slingers over here, and in the back it looks like I do have some Clan Rats coming back with Silver Chevrons, and another group of Clan Rats right here. So the Rats are going to be regrouping. We're going to be pulling back, using our speed to scurry away here, and then re-engage with our opponent once we have the numbers advantage. In the meantime, I did summon some Clan Rats with Skrulk as I was retreating to engage in the back line, and they might be able to beat these Saurus. I mean, it's pretty close. Now they're at negative 26. It's probably not going to be happening. So Skrulk, realizing he has an isolation here on the Skinks, is going to be charging in and hopefully tanking their leadership with this Contaminate. 47 leadership right now. Globeteer Fire is going to be going down on the Slann, and we actually get some really good globes on the Blueberry. 464 HP. He is getting very, very low. And I think that Skrulk Daddy 629 HP. He was able to stabilize his leadership. And what's really going to be a boon for us here is the fact that we have clan rats coming back. So 61 clan rats right here, and I don't know if we have anything else. I mean, I'm pretty sure everything we see here is what you see is what you got. So he's got some stores coming in, but I think the Vermintide, with just sheer numbers, is going to be able to work their way through. We also still have 2 groups of the Poison Wing Globadiers still firing, so if the Slon wants to come close, he's going to be taking those grapes to the face, or whatever, just the poison globes, and it's going to be doing some substantial damage, and even the fire on top of the source is going to be pretty good. So from here, we got this grinding fight. We got Lord Skrulk, we got clan rats, stand your ground has been popped yet again, and oh, did that source just pick up that rat? I could have sworn I saw like a locked animation where he picked up the rat and kind of just, you know, so not Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Undertaker, like the choke slam. I think it was one of those. But anyways, guys, that's probably going to be it. The Rat Horde is able to turn the tide. The Blueberry Slime does have a couple troops rallying here in the last quarter, but some Slingers coming back, some Focus Fire shatters the remnants of those troops, and that's going to be all she wrote. So what an incredibly close game. It was back and forth. I think the bounce of power like switched between him and I like 3 or 4 times at least, and it just made for a very, very good game. But it's pretty cool seeing the Blueberry Slon. My opponent had some beautiful play in the beginning with the Vortex abilities, using the Chain Lightning plus the Banishment. He literally just eviscerated this one group of Storm Vermin, 1 kill on those guys, and also the Plague Monk Sensor Bears. Now that was partially my mistake for blobbing up a little bit, but man, really, really good Heavens play from my opponent. It was definitely pretty brutal stuff, but I think the Globadiers did okay. I'm trying to think. I think the Hell Pit Abomination build might have been a little bit more optimal, just going with like a front line of Storm Vermin, 2 Hell Pit Abominations, a couple Rat Ogres, and some Slingers. I think that would have been exponentially more effective against this type of build. Even the Warp Lightning Cannon play, I think, would have been even smoother, but still the Globadiers, they worked. And Globadiers are a little bit more dynamic in the sense that they can fight more efficiently in close quarters. Like the Warp Lightning Cannon is going to be obstructed by trees and things like that. But in this type of a map, maybe the Globadiers were better. Hard to say, but yeah, it was a really fun game. So very well played to my opponent, Aethelwolf. It was definitely just down to the wire. I mean, either of us could have taken that game for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.